Welcome back, Renegades. Ever felt like your story was too weird, too wild, too real for the mainstream? We all have secrets, confessions, and experiences that make us who we are. But sometimes, those stories are best shared in the shadows, in the depths of Reddit's vast and anonymous communities. That's where I come in. I'm the Reddit Renegade, and I'm here to give voice to the untold stories, the hidden narratives, the confessions lurking in the digital darkness. Today, we're diving into confessions of a father's journey breaking free from childhood trauma to family triumph. I am a 41-year-old, happily married father of 5 children. My wife and I have been married for 20 years, and both of us came from fractured, chaotic families. My wife's parents divorced and were both alcoholics. Her father died of liver failure, and her mother has cooled off a bit and has retired. My parents went through a vicious, violent divorce when I was a child. My father moved 10 states away to escape the craziness, while my mother has never changed. Because of our experiences with violent and unstable families, my wife and I have worked extremely hard to be picture-perfect parents and spouses. We've done everything imaginable to create an ideal life for our kids. My wife is a sports coach, and I'm a scoutmaster with the Boy Scouts of America. Our children are healthy, engaged, and have everything they need both physically and emotionally. This has been achieved in spite of our families, not because of them. My mother is a terrible woman. She systematically abused me throughout my entire childhood and continued to be a violent, bitter, mean, and aggressive person towards me throughout my life. I could spend hours recounting the things she's done. She used the courts to destroy my father's life for decades. Once he was out of the house, she turned her anger towards me with physical and emotional violence. When I was 16, she expelled me from the house and left me homeless. I had to go from house to house, figuring out where to live and try to graduate high school. I ended up living with an older boy who was about 4 years older than me, and I had to engage in a sexual relationship with him to secure housing. I was not gay. I did not want to be gay, and I had to endure something that destroyed me in order to avoid sleeping on the street. When I turned 18, I was able to start working at a better job and escape that terrible situation to start my life from scratch. My wife and I have scratched and clawed our way into a stable, middle-class lifestyle. We both attended college at night for years and years, and now we have good jobs and a house in the suburbs. Out of a sense of duty to our family, I sought to include my extended family in our lives and permitted a relationship with strict boundaries between my mother and my children. For the most part, she had been fairly stable for about 20 years. I say stable in that we could have routine contact about once per month during that time period, with a minimum of disruptive behavior. She has never acknowledged her abuse towards me, as she is an extremely selfish person. Everything about our past has been left unsaid. Over the last 2 years, my mother has become completely unraveled. Her second husband decided to leave her for his own health and sanity, and she has instantly reverted to the most cruel and bizarre behavior imaginable. All aspects of her life have been affected. She is calling the cops, suing him in family court, alienating large parts of her family from one another, all while trying to tell my children about why their grandfather is a bastard based on how she feels about him. Once I saw this happening, I said, "That's it, not again," and took action. At the beginning of this year, I wrote a very courteous note to my mother asking her to reevaluate the way she's been behaving towards me and my family. When I say it was neutral and courteous, I really mean it. I checked it like 5 times. She responded by calling me terrible names, such as ungrateful piece of shit, and screaming bloody murder at me on the phone. I blocked her from my phone, and then she did the same thing to my wife. So I informed my mother by email that I'd like to maintain distance until she works on herself in therapy or with her divorce mediator. Things lay still for about 6 months. This morning, I woke up to a series of bizarre emails from my mother asserting that she wants to see my children for their upcoming birthday. She gave me 24 hours to provide acceptable dates for permitting visitation or to be prepared for a legal summons to family court. I'm like, what the hell? This woman is the equivalent of a schoolyard bully, following me around in life, tormenting me non-stop until you just want to cry. The worst part of a bully is that when you ask them to lay off for even 5 minutes, they take it as a cue to escalate their behavior even more. I took one look at this and thought, holy shit, this woman is clearly out of her mind. Now, I know in the post title I said she's suing me. I work in the legal field, and I know that until I've been summoned to appear, I haven't actually been sued. So no, she's only threatening to sue me right now. I apologize for using hyperbole. But I'm finding myself in the same bizarre, out-of-touch reality that everyone in this person's life finds themselves in. This batshit insane woman forced me to see my own father at a McDonald's when we were kids for 2 hours every 2 weeks, as per the court order, while she waited outside in a running car. I was only allowed to see him in this fashion because she hated him and didn't care what this would do to her own kids. There were more than a few times when the clock would strike 8 and she would come screaming into the McDonald's, threatening to call the cops and have my dad arrested for kidnapping while grabbing us by the arms and pulling us out of the store. This is what she's capable of doing with family court. I had a literal, hyperventilating panic attack on the floor of my office this morning. I have sought to be respectful, mature, and use good decision-making this whole time. My wife and I have an extremely secure marriage, and she is in agreement with me 100% through all of this. I'm finding myself wishing that my mother would just die already and please leave me alone. She's like this inescapable bully that will never, under any circumstance, leave a person alone until she's proven that she can hurt them. I don't even care what she's experienced in her life. I just need to be away from her. So that's my true, off-my-chest story. I've been living with this shame, fear, and lingering self-hatred for over 30 years, all while trying to be super dad and a great career man. I called a local family law practice today to get a referral. I'm going to ask them to send a demand letter to her to try and get her to back off. But look at what this has come to. I have to shell out money from my own pocket to protect myself and my kids from my insane mother. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield sometimes. Ironically, the money I'm going to have to send to the lawyer for their retainer is money that I had earmarked for the kids to go to summer camp. So figure that one out. There you have it, another story from the heart of Reddit, brought to life by the Reddit Renegade. But this is just the beginning. I want to hear your stories. Do you have a confession, a secret, a tale that needs to be told? Until next time, Renegades, stay curious, stay bold, stay true to yourselves.